All right. Welcome everyone. We're gonna go ahead and get started here. What I'm gonna do though is I'm gonna stop sharing that screen and I'm gonna move everything around. Give me 1 second. All right, this should do it. Let's see here. Esto es el colmo. Esto no tiene otro. All right, let me move this panel over to this side. All right, we're good to go. All right, and hit record.
Recording in progress.
All right, welcome everyone. Welcome to our. I think it's our very first Saturday training session today. I'm very excited to be on. Let me go ahead and turn on my camera just for a little bit to say hello. Here we go. All right. I think, yep, we can see each other. We're good. I'm very excited to be on today because this is really what I'm called to do. You know, if you were to ask me, what are some of those things that, you were sent to this world with? I think I was sent with a hunger for knowledge. I love to learn and I love to learn and not only learn, but learn to like become the very best that I can be. And when I stepped into this industry, I realized that man, I can live. It's like a career. I can go into a subject and get like an MBA or a PhD in the subject of network marketing and personal development and production based marketing. And I fell in love with that. I fell in love with that. As a matter of fact, let me show you guys this book right here. This book right here, Think and Grow Rich. Now, this is a newer version of the book. This is a newer version of the book. But I read this book, and I always write in the front cover when how many times I'm reading it. And hold on a second. And right now, I'm currently on time number 69 of reading this book. And the reason why is because when they told me that there was a book, when they told me that there was a book that had the secret to success and me being hungry for success, I said, well, I got to read that book. They told me that this man, Napoleon Hill, they said this man, Napoleon Hill, he spent 25 years, a quarter of a century, interviewing successful people. And what he did is that he compiled all that information and he figured out that all the people that he interviewed for 25 years, they had certain things in common. So when they told me, man, he wrote those things in common inside of this book, I had to read the book. But I had one problem. The first time that I read it, I didn't even understand it. For those of you who don't know, I'm a high school dropout. I never finished, not even the ninth grade. I ended up dropping out at the age of like 17. I became a father at the young age of 18. I started working construction at that same age, and that was the end of my schooling. But thanks to this industry, now I feel like I can have conversations with doctors, politicians, and all kinds of professionals because of the schooling that I received in 24 years in network marketing. Network marketing has been my university, and if I was to put in that many years into a traditional college, I would definitely have a PhD in the subject. So I consider that I have a PhD in network marketing. And because of that, I'm very joyful and passionate about sharing that because you never know who you have on a Zoom. One day I may jump on a Zoom and through a training or through a presentation, I may find an 18-year-old young man like myself who is trying to find himself, who is struggling through different things in life, and maybe I'll be able to touch him in the same way that somebody touched me 24 years ago, and maybe through me sharing the gift that I believe that I was sent to this world with, maybe through that gift they're able to see a different picture of themselves, they're able to see a different version of themselves, and maybe one day my name will come out in one of their testimonies, right? So that's the reason why I love training. This is the reason why I love training. Now, there's another reason why I love training, and it's this one: the best trained team always wins. Let me write that one down for you here. Hold on a second. Because this is something that it's never going to go out of style. And here it is. The best trained team always wins. Now, isn't that the case in everything? You know, if you look at sports, for example, doesn't the best trained team usually win? Those who are willing to leave everything on the court or in the field, those who are willing to, to get hit the hardest, those who are willing to take a knockdown and take a knee and then get back up and fight another round. Aren't those the ones who usually win in life? And the answer is yes. So I love training because it allows me to exercise my gift, but I also love training because I know that the more trained that my team is, the more that they're going to produce. It's just very simple for me to understand that. So I share it for those two reasons. One of them is because I feel like I'm free. I feel like when I'm training, my spirit is free, and I'm able to express. I'm allowing God to use my body and my mouth and everything that I have to experience life through me. So I kind of like put myself on the back burner and I allow that spirit within me to just come out and say whatever it is that the spirit needs to say. And that's the reason why I love training. But I also love training because I know that if I teach you how to do certain things, you're going to go out there and do them. And if you do them, you're going to make money. And by default, we're going to make money too. So the best trained team always wins. And that is really the truth about network marketing. I can always tell if a person is going to be successful in this industry based on how much he loves to train. You know, one of my favorite basketball players of all time, actually my favorite basketball player of all time, is Kobe Bryant. And Kobe Bryant was a person who he gave an example one time, and this is what he said. He said, "By the time I show up to practice, I've already practiced." He said on his way to the practice facility for the Los Angeles Lakers, he will stop, even if it was a local park, and shoot 1,000 free throws before he showed up to practice. Sometimes he will work before practice, he will work on a jump shot or a turnaround shot or a fadeaway shot hundreds of times, thousands of times. So this is what he said. He said, by the time I showed up to practice, I was already warmed up. I was already stretched. I was already broken in a sweat. I was ready to go. While everybody was still sleepy faced, I had already been training. So if you multiply that times 20 years of his career, he put in so many more hours than anyone else. No wonder he was better than most people, because his work ethic was just sick. He was just a worker. You know, so I can always tell by looking at a brand new distributor in network marketing who is going to be successful based on how much they like to train on themselves. They love to learn, not only to learn, because this is not entertaining at all. A lot of people find this kind of boring, actually, but not just for entertainment, but to take it in and then go apply it. You know, go apply the information that we learn, and that's how we get better. You know, I wish I could tell you that all you have to do is listen, but you're not going to learn this by osmosis. You're going to learn this through practice. You're going to learn this through application. You're going to learn this through trying and not being good enough, then trying and being a little bit better, then trying and now being good, and then trying and then being great. That's how you become one of the highest paid people in our industry. Now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take you through a little journey today. Part of that session is going to be here on the board. Another part of the training has a lot more to do with what makes us a freaking champion inside. We're going to talk about that. And that's where I lose most people. I'll just be honest. When I start talking about things that don't have anything to do with binaries and comp plans and money and back office, people tune out. When in reality, that's when the most important things are said. Because I can teach you how to build a binary. I can teach you how to go out there and recruit a person. But if I don't teach you the right philosophy on why we recruit, on why we build, on why we do certain things, then you'll know what to do, but you won't know why we're doing them, right? So if you don't have the whole picture, then you're staring at the tree, but you're missing the whole jungle, right? Because you're too close to the tree. You need to separate yourself from the tree, the business, so that you can see what makes it all go. That's the reason why successful people tend to be successful in most of the things they try, because it's not the vehicle, it's the person. So if you want to be successful in life in general, then how about we get to the philosophy of how and why we do certain things? There's a book called The Science of Getting Rich. I'm going to write it here. The Science of Getting Rich. The author for that is Wallace D. Wattles. And in this book, The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles says that rich people do things in a certain way. So knowing what to do is not enough. You have to do those things in a certain way, in the way that attracts success. Success is what you attract by the person that you become. So success isn't something that you grind for. I know a lot of grinders in our industry, people that work around the clock in our industry, yet they don't attract success. The reason why is because they're not the person to attract success. Money doesn't have a mouth, it can't speak. But money has ears and it can hear when the right person is calling it. So to become successful, we have to grow our money consciousness. If you're not programmed to attract money, then you first need to learn what is your programming, and then you have to learn how to change your programming, and then you have to install a new program that attracts money. So let me give you like a visual of how that looks. And this is something that I learned from a gentleman by the name of Bob Proctor, who passed away just a couple years ago. But Bob Proctor says that your mind, here it is, that your mind, no one has ever drawn you a picture of your mind. If you remember in school when you took science, for example, you might have seen a picture of a brain, but the brain is not the mind. The brain it's an organ that will die with your body. The mind is bigger than that. Like one of the exercises that one of my mentors first taught me was, Jaime, I want you to sit here quietly for just a few minutes. And he sat me down quietly for just a few minutes. And then he said, okay, now I want you to pretend like you're looking at your mind. Now imagine this for 1 second. Like you're looking at your mind. Like, have you ever seen those cartoons where there's a cat and he's staring at the little mouse hole, waiting for the mouse to come out? I want you to look at your mind as if it's that mouse hole, and I want you to ask yourself, I wonder what I will think of next. Now, you may want to try that exercise. Sit quietly for just a few moments, and then pretend like you're looking at your mind as a cat is looking at a mouse hole, and then ask yourself, I wonder what kind of mouse or what will I think of next. Now, what you just had was an out-of-body experience, because you have to see yourself outside of yourself, looking at yourself to ask yourself, I wonder what I would think of next, and then you're staring right at your mind. That means that you're bigger than your body, you're bigger than your brain. So let me draw you what a picture of a mind looks like to me and to Bob Proctor. Now, he draws the mind in a circle. He draws the mind in a circle. And then he says, your mind is divided into two parts, the top part and the bottom part. Now, here's your body, right? That's your body. But your top mind, this is called your conscious mind. And then the bottom is called your subconscious mind. Now, your subconscious mind is literally just a slave. It has to do whatever the conscious mind programs. This is the master, and your subconscious mind is just a slave. That means that your program is literally here. This is called your paradigm. Paradigm. I think that's kind of how you spell it. So this is your programming. This is based on this paradigm, is based on how your body will move, how it will react, how it will interact with other people, based on your programming. So let me erase a little bit of this and give you the basics, and then we're going to get into our network marketing training, and then we're going to get into how to become a champion. Okay, so here it is. So if this is a thought, your mind has antennas, 5 antennas to be exact, 3, 4, 5. Now these antennas are your senses. So you have your smell, your touch, your taste, right? You have your senses. And these thoughts you're attracting these thoughts based on your paradigm, and they come to these antennas, and then the idea gets into the conscious mind. So now the idea is here. Now this thought might have been released by another mind. This thought might have been on the ether. This thought, maybe you created it, but chances are you didn't, because most people don't do creative thinking. They do a lot of remembering. That's not creative thinking. Remembering is the worst part of how to use your brain, how to use your mind. Remembering is thinking about the past. Your mind is created to forward propel you towards the future, for you to be able to imagine the future the way that you would want it. Most people only use the mind to remember. I know a couple. Some of them are my relatives. They want to remember when they were 4 years old and they were almost they were in child labor camps, and at 4 years old they were making fireworks. And that's my mother, by the way. Every single time that I visit my mother in Texas, I know that the first few conversations we're going to talk about the past. Remember who hurt us when you were a kid. Remember what they said. Remember your dad. Remember. That's futile. That does us no good to remember. The best way, and the way that your mind was designed to help you, was for you to be able to imagine your future, not remember your past. Let the dead bury their dead. That's very true. The past is in the past for a reason. So this idea here, the master of this idea, the conscious mind, has to decide what to do with this idea. The conscious mind can release the idea, and now the idea has to leave. Like when you have a nightmare. When you have a nightmare, you wake up, and then you have to release that idea. If not, you get paralyzed. You just lay there scared, right? But you have to let go and release and say, okay, I was just dreaming, let that go, right? And then you release the idea. Now this idea goes back to the ether, and then another mind is going to attract it with their little antennas. And then this mind has to decide what to do with it. But if you decide to keep the idea, let's say you're imagining yourself successful with enough capital, and you're looking at yourself, and you're standing in front of a room, and you see a big team of people, you see production, you're imagining yourself opening up your back offices and seeing that you just hit rank number 7, that you just got a $10,000 bonus. You're seeing your binary, how you're cycling out once a day. You're seeing how you're making good money. You're seeing how your team is happy. You're imagining that, and you can say, man, I really want that to happen. I really want that to happen. As the master, you choose what thoughts or ideas stay in your conscious mind. And the longer that the idea stays in the conscious mind, the faster that idea will begin to impregnate the subconscious mind. Now, this is the reason why many gurus and many books and many audios will tell you that repeated daily affirmations are the way to plant an idea into your subconscious mind. Not because there's magic, and there is mystical things about the word and the repeated word and the positive repeated word into your mind, But the reason why is because you consciously make a decision to think about that again. So when I open up and I have my affirmation book right here, this is my affirmation book right here. And when I open up this book, right, I have 3x5 cards. I have 3x5 cards that I read, and I'll just read a couple of them because the moment that I pick up these cards, I'm telling my conscious mind, hey, I want to keep this idea in my mind. I want to program myself with this idea. I want my body to react almost like a reflex based on this idea. So I consciously every day I remind myself of that idea. And here's what I repeat to myself. All right, so I'll read a couple of them here, and then I'll read a couple of more affirmations. So I repeat this to myself almost daily. This is a quote from Viktor Frankl. Viktor Frankl, he wrote a book, and I forget the name of the book, but he was in a concentration camp during the Holocaust, and he survived it. And in that book, he wrote this, and it touched me, so I keep it, and it reminds me of why I do what I do. So every day, I decide to read this little card because I want my conscious mind to think of that, right? Because I want my subconscious mind to be like, this is who we are. And then for my body to say, okay, well, this is how we act because this is who we are. So this is what I say to myself. I say, a man who becomes conscious of the responsibility that he bears towards a human being who affectionately waits for him or to an unfinished work will never be able to throw away his life. He knows the why for his existence, and he'll be able to bear almost anyhow. I didn't even have to look at the card. I've memorized it. It's been years of me reading that. So what does this help me to do? It helps me to remind myself that I have a family that's counting on me. So I can't just say, screw this entrepreneurial stuff, screw this crypto stuff. I'm just not going to try anymore because it says here that a man who is conscious, I am conscious of the responsibility. I have a responsibility that I bear towards human beings, my wife, my children, even my puppy, who rely on me, who affectionately wait for me, and also to an unfinished work. Listen, I'm not done with network marketing by far. I see myself getting into the Hall of Fame of network marketing. So I have unfinished business. See, so it says here, a man who becomes conscious of the responsibility that he bears towards a human being who affectionately waits for him or to an unfinished work. I have unfinished work, right? Will never be able to throw away his life. I know the why for my existence, and I'll be able to bear almost anyhow. I'll pay just about any price. Why? Because I have human beings who affectionately are waiting for me, and I have unfinished work, so I can't throw away my life. So I've said it so many times, that thought, that idea, it's in my subconscious mind, so I behave in a way to where like nothing's going to stop me. 57 companies can shut down on me, and tomorrow I'll start number 58. Why? Because there's no quit in me. Now, I did that purposely. I programmed myself with that thought, with that resilience, with that grit. I did it to myself, right? Instead of thinking all the negative stuff that stupid teachers told me, stupid people told me, stupid downline told me, stupid upline told me in the past. Instead of thinking about the stupid things that they told me, I decide how I program myself. I decide. I don't give that power to anyone else. I decide. That's one. And then when I was a child, I was an only child. I have half brothers, half sisters, but for my mom and my dad, I am an only child. And as an only child, I used to run that household. Meaning, you know, if something wasn't done my way, I would throw myself on the floor and start crying until it was done my way. Very much spoiled, right? My mom spoiled the living crap out of me. Messed me up, right? My dad never once raised his hand, never once hit me, never once touched me like that. So, you know, to me, authority and discipline were like, I was above that stuff. Like authority, discipline, I'm the authority, and they're going to discipline themselves to what I say. That was my thought pattern for a long time. So I needed to program myself to not be that way. So this is what I repeat to myself. And this is a verse, by the way, from the book of Hebrews. And I say this to myself every day. No discipline seems pleasant at the time, but hard. In time, however, it produces a harvest of righteousness and peace for those who have been trained by it. I almost get teary-eyed when I read that. The reason why is because the only way to success is through discipline. There's no other way. I wish I could tell you. I mean, if there was an easy way, I would have found it. Because I've been looking for easy ways my entire life. So if there was an easy way to success, I would tell you. Unfortunately, success is hard. That's the reason why 95% of the people in this world will never find success. And only 5% of the people in this world will find success. Success is not making money. I know a lot of unsuccessful people that they're so poor that all they have is money. Success is living a purposeful life. Living a life with balance. To where you're not just making money for the sake of making money. You're making money exercising the God-given gifts that he trusted you with. And one day we're going to all be accountable to those gifts. So today, ladies and gentlemen, those are two of my affirmations. Another one of my affirmations is I'm so happy and grateful now that money comes to me in increasing quantities through multiple sources on a continuous basis. I am so happy and grateful now that money comes to me in increasing quantities through multiple sources on a continuous basis. I say that all the time. Here's another one. This is a more personal one about the exact amount of money that I Success likes it when you're very specific, not general. Like saying I want money doesn't mean a damn thing to the universe or to anybody else. I want money could mean $1. Do you want $1? If you want more than $1, be specific. Because if you just say, give me money, well, here's 10 cents. Now you have money. Now what? Now what else do you want? So I wanted to share that with you because success is not just about knowing how to recruit. A lot of people know how to recruit and they're still not successful. What happened there? Success has a lot to do with more than just sales. Success has nothing to do whether Bitcoin's going to the moon or is going to the gutter. I don't care. I don't care if cryptocurrency disappeared tomorrow. I'm still successful. And you take on that identity, knowing that you were born to be rich. You were born to be rich. You were born to the image of the creator of all things. The owner of a cattle and 1,000 hills created you to be successful and abundant. And if we're not living that, then we're not living on purpose. If we're living in need, if we're living in greed, if we're living in lack, if we're living in disappointment, if we're living in the past, we're not living on purpose. So in order for you to find success, you have to find a lot more than money. You have to find your purpose. Now, I'm going to take you now to a PowerPoint or some slides that I created to help us with this. And I know you may be asking yourself, what in the world does this have to do with Up Capital? Everything. Everything. If I teach you, right, to program your subconscious mind for you to, by reflex, start acting and talking and doing things in a certain way, then you can pick thoughts that you want to hold in your mind, like, I am the #1 recruiter in Up Capital. I am so happy and grateful now that I'm the #1 recruiter in Up Capital. Write that one down. Repeat it to yourself. Start acting that way. And it has everything to do with Up Capital. I earn $30,000 a day with Up Capital because I have a $10,000 account and it cycles once a day. Repeat that. Write that down. Repeat it. Right? I'm looking for the love of your life. Write that one down. Write it on a piece of paper and say, I'm so happy and grateful now that I found a partner that appreciates me, loves me, finds me attractive, seduces me, and wants to spend time with me. Write that one down. You want to have a better relationship with your children. Write it down. I am so happy and grateful now that the relationship with my children continues to get better and better. And in every day, in every way, we're getting better and better. Write that down. This is how you do anything in life. When you go into prayer, right? And I know I tend to attract a lot of faith people. So if you're not faith driven, I apologize. I am, and I don't apologize for that. I apologize that what I'm gonna say may not make sense to you. But when you pray, don't come to pray with need. Don't come to pray, God, I need this. God knows what you need. He's not blind and he's not deaf. He heard you the last 400 days that you said the same thing. So by repeating your prayer, here's what you do. Oh, God didn't hear me. God must be deaf. I need to repeat it to him. I need to repeat it to him. And he's like, hey, man, did you not trust that I heard? I heard you. I'm making things happen. The planets have to align. I have to send the right people. I have to touch the right hearts. I have to attract the right people to your community, to your organization. I have to get rid of old companies that no longer work. I have to bring you into new companies that do work. All of it is by divine design. Fighting it is me being against God, because God's timing is always perfect. So if God says, hey, this opportunity is over because I have a better one for you, I'm not going to be like, no, I want that old boring. No, I got to trust. I have to trust. So let's go to this PowerPoint and let's talk about this really quick. Here we go. Let's go slideshow from the beginning. All right. Let's see here. Let's see what, okay, I see what you're seeing. All right, so here's what I'm gonna do. I have to switch my screens again. And hold on, I'll be right back with you. I need to put this one over here. I need to put this one over here. I need to put this here, make this here, share again. I'm gonna share my second screen. And now I'm going to hit from the beginning. And let's see, okay. And I'm going to do this. Where is my presentation? This is horrible. How come I can't share what I want to share? This is crazy. I'm going to figure this out. One second. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to share that screen then. Play nice, Zoom. Play nice. All right. And I'm going to get rid of this. And I'm going to get rid of it. Okay, cool. Now we're ready. Okay, so we just spoke about the mind, right? We just spoke about the mind. But there's something that's even more powerful than your mind, and that is your spirit, your soul. So today I want to talk to you about the war against your soul. You know, there's forces in this world. There's forces in this world that want to steal your peace. You know, that energy, that negative energy in the world. A lot of us call it evil, right? A lot of us call it the enemy. But there are two energies in this world. There's good energy and there's bad energy. And there's a bad energy that manifests itself in people that scam us, people that rob our peace, people that hate on us, ideas that cause us to stress out. So there's positive energy and there's negative energy. Positive energy also manifests itself in people that help us, people that believe in us, people that work with us, people that pray for us, right? So there are two energies in this world, and one of them causes you peace, the other one causes you grief. All right. So today we're going to talk about that. We're going to study, and we're going to protect our mind, our will, and our emotions here shortly. And then we're going to talk more specifically about network marketing. So the nature of the battle, and you best believe that we're all in a battle. Every single day you better lace them up. You better lace them up like this guy here. Uh-oh. Like this guy here. You know, better lace them up. Like this guy. Every single day, don't ever forget to strap them up, because you're gonna face things throughout your day that are meant to distract you, are meant to steal your peace, are meant to steal your money, are meant to steal your time. So every single day, never forget to grab that armor, grab your tools, grab your boots, grab your weapons, and get ready, because let's not forget that every single day there is a war going on. There is a spiritual, energetic war that is happening every single day between that force that wants to cause good and that force that doesn't want to cause good, or the complete opposite, wants to cause evil, right? So the soul is the target. Your soul is the target of this spiritual war, of this energy war. Because your soul, that's where your intellect is, that's where your emotions are. So if your emotions are all jacked up because you're worried, right? And worry is nothing more than you using your imagination the wrong way. Because when you worry, what do? You imagine of the worst things possible, of everything that can go wrong. You imagine that, right? So you're literally imagining, but you're imagining in a way that hurts you, not in a way that helps you, right? So when you have grief in your intellect, when you have grief in your soul, in your emotions, you feel the pressure, you feel the grief, the sadness, the frustration, the anger. That's when you're losing the battle. You're losing the battle. The reason why is because if the enemy can steal your peace, then you're not thinking 100% clearly anymore. Then you're making decisions that are no longer just based on your purpose, but are based on desperation and frustration. So the enemy can influence for you to lose your peace, or for you to lose that battle in your mind, through influences and thought. So, for example, right, you can have a lingering person in your life. And this happened to me when I was in my 20s. When I was in my early 20s, I used to hang out with this guy from work, Armenian guy, a fun guy. His name was Art Stepanian. And Art was a drinker, heavy drinker. For him, one round was a beer and a shot of vodka. That was one round. And he wanted to go round after round after round. So much so that one time I was out drinking with this guy, and we went to a bar, and he got really drunk. He got really drunk to where I told him, hey, you can't drive. I'll drive you home, right? You can't drive. I'll drive you home. And while I was driving him home, coming home at like around 1:30 in the morning, the freeway, the highway was empty. He kept yanking the steering wheel, trying to make me crash. Very annoying. So I looked at him. I said, Art, when I pull over at your house, I'm going to get you out and I'm going to beat the crap out of you if you don't stop playing around like that. So he kept doing it and doing it. When we were 1 block away from his house, this guy, Art, says, can you stop at this supermarket? I want to buy a 6-pack of beer. I said, Art, I think you've had just about enough to drink. He said, bro, just stop at the store and buy some beer. So I said, I'm going to stop at the store, but I'm going to stop at the store to open up the door, and I'm going to beat you down right now. And that's exactly what I did. The cops showed up. Luckily, nobody arrested us because we both said that we were just playing. But, I was beating him down because I had it. But I knew that influence in my life was not good. I had to let go of that friendship. And that's exactly, the enemy will send people your way. These forces that are meant to steal your peace will send people your way to try to nudge you off course. Sometimes, guys, that looks like a beautiful woman. You may be thinking, oh, I have to go pay attention to this woman because she's so beautiful and she looks like she's interested in me. Little do you know that you're about to step into a season in your life that you're going to regret the day you met that woman. Same thing for you ladies. Sometimes this guy's looking handsome, he's looking fit, he can dance, he can do all kinds of great things, and you don't know that you're about to literally babysit this grown man for the next 5 years. Right? Because sometimes this enemy sends you people that are going to influence your life to really much bring grief into your soul, into your intellect, into your emotions. So the first thing that we need to do is be aware. We have to be aware. We have to be aware of what leads to transformation, because awareness is the only thing that will lead you to thinking different. Because if we're out there looking, for example, a business opportunity, but we keep bringing the usual suspect with us, which is ourselves, and we keep making rash decisions or irresponsible decisions with our money, then it doesn't matter which opportunity you find, you're always going to lose, because you're showing the world, you're showing God that you're not responsible with the little that He gave you. So there's no much that there's not more that you can do if He gives you much. If you can't be trusted with the little, you'll never get more. And if there are rules of engagement into an opportunity and you choose not to follow them, then you yourself, you have to do an analysis and say, why am I not being coachable? They're literally telling me how much I can put in here, and I'm like, I don't care, I'm all in. This is not the Wild Wild West. That's crazy to think that way. So we need to make sure that we're aware of where our weaknesses are. Now, we have to also understand grace. A lot of times we fall and we don't get hurt. A lot of times we fall and we don't get hurt. And we think, oh, falling doesn't really matter, because I fell and nothing happened. I still have my family. I still have a home to live in. I still have some type of a job. I failed, but that's okay. I don't have to correct behavior because there's grace. Now, grace empowers us, not just forgives us for our mistakes. That means that when we make a mistake in network marketing, in business, in Up Capital, grace will say, hey, no big deal. This is a very forgiving industry. But it also empowers us for us not to make that same mistake. And that is where we have to understand grace. That grace is not just to say, okay, no big deal, you messed up, give it another chance. But it also empowers us so that we can learn from where we're making mistakes and we can change. Now, overcoming through divine strength is something that I've learned over the last 12, 13 years. I've always had some type of relationship with my Creator. I grew up in a church. Literally from Tuesday to Sunday, I was in a church every night. My mom served in the ladies ministry. I was in the children's ministry. I came up through the children's ministry. I was preaching when I was 9, 10, 11 years old in front of the congregation. And one of the things that I've learned along the way is that I always knew where to run to when things hit the fan. When things got horrible, I always knew, like, hey, no matter how far away you went from your roots, you always know where to come back to. So the question for you is, regardless whether we share the same faith or not, who do you run to when things get heavy, when the load gets too heavy to carry yourself? Because we're only human at the end of the day. And if we were able to do it all ourselves, then we wouldn't need any kind of guidance from above. We wouldn't need any kind of higher power. But the thing is that there's things that you and I can't carry that well. There are things that we need, that guidance that goes beyond our understanding. So we want to make sure that we know where to run to, we know who to run to, we know, how to call out for help, right? And sometimes I'll tell you this: when you cry out for help, don't expect manna to fall from heaven. Those times are done. Expect God to send people your way to help you, because He works through people, right? So when you're asking for help and people approach you with help, don't reject it thinking, nah, I'm waiting for my miracle. My friend, that was the miracle, right? And we just rejected it. And then also, do yourself a favor and reject performance-based faith. There's nothing that you can do for God to help you more. There's nothing that you can do. He's not requiring for you to sacrifice anything. You can't do anything else for Him to be like, okay, now that you made your bed in the morning, now I'm going to send you some better recruits. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. So everyone, whether you're here and you've been making money for some time and everything looks like it's going great or not, at some point you're gonna need a refresher. You're gonna need renewal. Why? Because we get tired. Right now, currently, I'm on fumes. I'm on fumes. Here's why. Because I'm leading an organization that right now there's confusion there, right? There's confusion there from all over the place, but from more than likely from the source, right? So there's confusion. So I'm leading that organization. I'm leading this organization, which is new, right? It's just new. And that means that it's at its highest level of anxiety because it's at its lowest level of knowledge, right? The higher your knowledge, the lower your anxiety. So right now, I'm stretching myself out thin to where I'm on E. I need a renewal for myself. I need to be able to shut it down, completely shut everything down. It doesn't matter how much of an emergency it may seem on WhatsApp. It's time for me to unplug for a day, renew my mind, renew my soul, spend some time with my family, get some hugs and kisses, spend some time in the sun, spend some time in gratitude, spend some time in my thoughts, spend some time in silence, spend some time for me so that I can be good for you. And that's what we're doing tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to the beach from the morning and we're not coming back till like midnight. I have a Zoom at 7:30 and I'll be doing that one, or at 7 p.m. and I'll be doing that one from the beach. Why? Because if you don't take care of yourself, your team that loves you right now, that team is not forever. I wish I could tell you that it was. But people that swear, man, you're the leader, we're gonna follow, they don't follow. That's the bottom line. You know what I mean? So you want to make sure that you're spending time with self, that you're spending time with your creator, that you're understanding that you need to renew your mind, and that you're intentional about practicing the things that we need to practice. And one of them is gratitude. The best attitude is gratitude. So we have to be able to live by faith and not by fear. Faith is not you and what you believe. That's not faith. Faith is visible. You may say, no, it's not. Yes, it is. I can prove it to you, but I have to tell you a story. Now, I'm an amateur on the Bible, but there was a story there that, the master teacher, he was doing a home meeting, and the home meeting was packed. Everybody wanted to know about this opportunity in which he was presenting. But from a long ways away, somebody heard, hey, this master teacher is doing a home meeting, and we hear that he can heal people. And we have this guy here who's sick. He can't even get up. We're going to have to carry him over there, but let's carry him. So they took this man, they grabbed him, they threw him on a bed, and they carried the bed with them all the way to the home meeting. They get there and they realize, man, there's no room. We can't get in. There's no way that we can get in. And instead of saying, well, guys, I guess this opportunity's over. I guess we got to go now. Maybe next time, maybe another home meeting, maybe some other time. They said, no. Let's carry this guy to the roof. Let's throw him on the roof. Him in his bed, throw him on the roof. Let's tear the roof with our bare hands. Let's tear the roof with our bare hands. And let's drop this guy with a rope down to the living room where the guy is doing the home meeting. And it's very clear when it says that the master teacher saw their faith. What did he see? He saw that they believed so much that they were willing to get on the roof, tear the roof with their hands, lower this guy with a rope, because they believed that much that they acted. Faith is not belief. Faith is acting on what you believe. Do you believe that you can be a successful entrepreneur? Do you believe that you can be a professional network marketer? Do you believe that it can happen for you? If you do, act that way. Make that call. Call your people. Call your leaders. Call your team and say, hey, this is what we're doing. And when they see your conviction, when they see your belief, they will follow. If they see fear in your eyes, they won't follow. It doesn't matter what kind of support you're getting. It doesn't matter how your upline support team is helping you. Your team needs to see the freaking eye of the tiger right in your eyes. Not my eyes. They don't know me. They know you. You need to show them that you believe because you're acting. Look at me walk. Look at me walk on water because I believe. Who would walk on water if they didn't believe? No one. Only people who walk on water are people who have to believe. So it wasn't the fact, oh, I believe I can walk on water. Then let's step out into the pool. Then let's see. Right? Show me. But most of us are saying, oh, I believe in network marketing. Then act like you believe in network marketing and start making the phone calls like you believe in network marketing. I believe in myself. Act like you believe in yourself and make the phone calls with conviction, with urgency, and say, hey, this is not for next week. This is today. We need to get together today. We need to get you started today. We need to activate your package today. We need to get you binary qualified today. We need to do your launch today. We need to do this today. It is today. Tomorrow's not promised. Only today is. So we need to do whatever we need to do. Fear disrupts your emotional stability. When you feel fear, your team may not tell you, but they can sense it. Fear or faith builds your resilience. When you have faith, see, I can have a setback in my business, and I know it's only a setup for a comeback. Why? Because my faith says this must not be a good enough company for me to be in, so God had to close it, but I'm going to a better one now. And I act and I walk with conviction. Now, if you have to choose faith with your decisions, not just with your words. Now, clarity reveals truth. The truth of the matter is, ladies and gentlemen, that a lot of people right now are spending more time thinking about, well, how can we fix something that we have no control over, instead of saying, how can I fix my situation with what God handed me today? At the end of the day, you're not your own provider. At the end of the day, you can't make one of your hairs grow from your head. You can't. You can't do anything important in this world. It has to be done with help. Right? So when you see that with clarity, you know, like, no matter what happens around me, I know who my provider is. I know where my help comes from. And if my help is with me, then who can be against me? Right? So when you believe that, that brings clarity, and that just simplifies the whole process. God is going to move you until he's done moving you. That's just the bottom line. That's the truth. Now, avoid overcomplicating anything that you read on faith, whether it's scripture or anything else. Just how can you use that today? And when you have faith, that leads to peace of mind, and peace in your heart, knowing that, you know, you're following divine guidance, right? So here's what we need to do. We need to reflect every single day. We need to check ourselves to see exactly how are we acting. Are we showing that we have faith? Are we showing that we have fear? When you're leading your organization, when you're leading your network marketing organization, can they sense that you know where you're going, or are they questioning? Are they wondering, is this guy really taking us somewhere we can win or not? Right? So we have to filter our emotions through truth. The truth is, I can't really help myself much. You know, I look at my career in network marketing, and I always ask myself, where did all these people come from? And all I can say is, they were sent here. They were sent here. And tomorrow, if everybody was sent somewhere else, that's because a new batch of people is being sent here. And I'm okay either way. I'm okay either way. We have to live from victory, not for victory. We're already victorious. Listen, out of millions of sperm cells that flew out of your father, millions of them died in the process, and you made it. You're a winner. So you're already victorious. So take on your role as a victorious person and live your life in victory, not for victory. We're not looking to win. We already won. We're not looking to win. We're already winners. Ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to share this with you to tell you that I believe in our community, and I believe in what we have to teach. And I believe that if we work together for an extended period of time, we're going to do amazing, amazing things. We're going to change this world one person at a time. You guys have an amazing day. We'll see you guys on Monday. God bless. Take care. Goodbye.
Re-